Okay, so the recording started. This is the last lecture or webinar, I should say. And again, to remind you about the test, it's going to be 50 multiple choice and true and false questions, mainly multiple choice questions. And it's going to cover topics 9, 10, 11, and 12, which means this particular topic is not covered on the test. But I wanted to kind of emphasize the importance of what I'm going to talk about in terms of artificial intelligence. And I think the key thing here is that it's going to have a tremendous impact on everyone's lives in this generation. And if you thought that Google, I guess that came out in the 90s, was a big deal, and how it changed the way people made decisions and did business. Well, artificial intelligence is going to be Google on steroids, and it's going to have some positive effects, and it's going to have some negative effects. And also, the biggest thing that I can tell you is that if you don't lead AI, you're going to be led by AI. The train's going to leave the station, and if you're not on board, you're going to be left at the station. And it's not just lower skilled people that will not benefit from it, but it's going to be pervasive. And I want to show you some statistics that I uncovered, over the last week that I want to share with you. And it's most of it is 2024 data, and it shows you, where AI is going. And the biggest thing that I'd like to get across is that you recognize that this is going to be part of your challenge, over your life cycle of your business career. And you really need to know about what the impacts are going to be. And it's going to introduce a bigger portion of, where management principles have gone. It's essentially, it's going to be a whole new era. And only because no one knows, what could go sideways with AI, as well as, the advantages that we can draw from it. And I'm hoping that this information, will kind of enlighten and also inspire you to kind of get on board and really keep abreast. I kept on talking about the 20%, the top 20% in their fields. So if you can maintain the top 20% in your field, you will always have employment. And the thing is that being aware and being trained and capable of dealing with AI from a leading point of view will keep you in that top 20%. So that's the message I want to send to you. And what I'd recommend is that you make sure that you save this presentation, just the PowerPoint, and go back to some of the links. And I'm going to show you one of the links that really kind of goes through many issues that have arisen just this year. And the thing is that AI over the last 4 years has increased by 270% in terms of applications, in business and whatsoever. So it's here, and it's not just coming, it's here, and it's going to increase. And I always use this sort of a logarithmic approach. It's not a straight line. It's gonna go just like compound interest in terms of, artificial intelligence will increase artificial intelligence capability, which will increase artificial intelligence capability. So it's the compounding effect that's really going to have a big effect on you personally in your business career, and on you personally in your lifestyle. So get ready, strap in. So let's get started with the presentation. Okay, so excuse me for a second. Okay, so here's some 2024 information that I've drawn. So look at this. China, by 2030, AI is projected to contribute approximately to 26% of China's GDP. Can you imagine that? At 26% of the business generation will be because of AI. Now that's amazing. Compare that with North America. By 2030, it'll only be 14.4%. And I'll tell you, the number is lower because Canada drags that number down. because otherwise, by the US itself, it's at 21%. But it still tells you that China is in the lead in terms of AI. And being in the lead means, again, a compounded effect of being, in a bigger lead, going forward if nations don't catch up. So the growth reflects this transformative impact, of AI across all the sectors. It says various sectors, but from technology to healthcare and beyond. So strap in. And the reason, why the biggest reason I want to give you this presentation is so you'll be ready, and so that you'll be able to be a partner in this AI. And why it's so important is because the ethical side of AI is going to be paramount because of its capability to do good and bad. And at this point in time, there's really no regulation from government's point of view, from any government's point of view. And if you look at what's going on in the US, the federal government is concerned about it, but the proponents of AI are saying, well, let us self-regulate, and you can see where that could possibly go. So there has to be something in there, and again, you as business leaders can make that difference in making sure that AI is is leveraged for all good purposes. And where that's really going to come in again is on the ethical side of making decisions and looking at the impact of what could happen when you decide to go with an AI initiative and how that will affect people, society, and the environment for that matter. Okay, so I just want to go back to this this link. So I'm going to actually click on this link. All right. And that way I can show you, what, what's there. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this on the screen here. Okay, so this is, this is the top 24 AI statistics and trends in 2024. I'm just going to go over a few just to give you the sense of, wow, there's lots going on here. So look at AI market size is expected to reach 407 billion by 2027. AI will have an estimated 21% net increase on the United States GDP by 2030. Over 75% of consumers are concerned about misinformation from AI, and we see this going on already in electoral situations where there's all kinds of misinformation that's generated by AI, video and other, text. And you just have to understand what's happened to Taylor Swift in terms of what AI has done, as a risk for her in terms of some of the bad stuff of AI was used to kind of make her look bad. All right, so there's those things going on. 1 in 10 cars will be self-driving by 2030. 64% of businesses expect AI to increase the productivity. So that businesses are going to take that on because it's all about maintaining or sustaining competitive advantage. Half of US mobile users use voice search every day. AI is expected to see an annual growth of 37.3% from 2023 to 2030. So there's, here's a few more. 77% are concerned that AI will cause job loss in the next year. 400 million workers could be displaced because of AI. Research estimates, though, that AI will create some 97 million jobs. And so you can see on the impacts, 97% of business owners believe ChatGPT will help their business. So there's so many things that you should be aware of. And the whole idea basically is to keep aware of that and understand that, it's a logarithmic relationship that's going up. And again, if you're not leading it, you're being led. So that, keep in mind as being a leader in business going forward. So I just wanted to share that with you. Okay, so I'll get back to the presentation. Okay, let me see here. Okay, and where are we here? Okay. Okay, so sorry, I'm missing something here. I want to make sure I can see on the screen. Okay, I can see on the screen now. Okay, so here's an interesting article. I'm not going to go into it, but there was a lot of hype, provided around what AI was going to do. And Gartner, one of the premier, consulting firms and research providers globally, come up with this article about, the really looking at the myths around that, so you really understand on both sides what's happening of that thing. But here's where you can see that things are already, in the year 2024, what's happening. So multimodal AI and video, which means that AI systems can handle many modalities, many types of channels in terms of producing text, producing images, producing and moderating or modifying images, producing videos or modifying videos, and they're gaining prominence. And think about applications that combine this visual and textual information that goes seamlessly. So that's happening, and it's just going to get more and more capability as time goes on. Here's another one, and then I want to kind of give you my experience around this. So this next heading is, smaller language models and open source advancements. And let's focus in on open source. So when I was going through, the ERP change of SAP at TELUS, a lot of the software is proprietary, and which that means it's closed source. So what the significance of that is that once that you bring in some software that's not open source, then you're beholden to the provider, and it's really hard to switch, substitution, to go to somewhere else because they have you, because you cannot have different systems that will talk to it because it's closed source. All right, so a simple example is that Apple will put out an application that only an iPhone can connect to be able to work it, and an Android can't. That's a closed source. And the fact that there's a lot of success on open source in AI means that it's going to proliferate that much more effectively, it's just outperforming proprietary models. So that's another condition that shows you how it's going to be capable to be able to expand in applications and whatever. The next one is graphic processing unit. Because already AI is using GPU, or graphic processing unit bandwidth, they're starting to see a shortage of the GPU, a shortage, and you can see that cloud costs are going to go up. So that's something as a manager that you should recognize, because AI is going to be great, but the costs are going to drift up as well. And how do you manage that accordingly? As a leader in business. And then model optimization accessibility. So techniques for optimizing AI models are becoming more and more accessible. Every day there's something coming up. If you take a look at, even ChatGPT, where it was 12 months ago and where it is now in terms of capability, and then all the other entrants, with Bing now, with Pilot, you can see that there's competition to try to get you on a particular search engine and whatever. So organizations are focusing on creating tailored AI models that fit specifically fit the specific use cases. So just in post pandemic, when we saw the retail side going digital, and many of those small retail operations can get their hands on point of sale software, which 10 years ago, or even let's say 20 years ago, couldn't get that because it was only large corporations that had big budgets that could build these platforms. Now you can rent a point of sale software, and it does just about everything that a large ERP can do for a small business, and you could be just as capable, and you can compete in terms of managing your inventory and managing your sales through your website and all these things. Now just think, put that on steroids with AI, because AI will be driving those things. The capabilities will be unbelievable as far as I'm concerned. All right, and then in today's world and where it's going, absolutely more powerful virtual agents. So you can see that, conversational AI like chatbots and virtual assistants, they're evolving so rapidly, and expect, smarter context-aware agents that can handle complex interactions. And again, that's going to replace people, no doubt. And then what's key, and these are, current trends, 2024, regulation, copyright, and key ethical AI concerns. So as AI adoption grows, ethical considerations become absolutely paramount. And regulations, copyright issues, responsible AI practices, they're all part of that. And so how are you, when you're going to do something, how will you make decisions to make sure that AI is going to do the right things for you, and there's no chance of doing, let's say, bad things, okay? So that's key. Okay, so here we are, let's embrace these trends, shape the future of AI. This is the same article link to the 5 big myths that I talked about, so that's there. But what artificial intelligence is doing, it's reshaping the business landscape. It's revolutionizing industries. It's transforming the way we work. So if we look at this course and we looked at the evolution of management principles, and you can see it started off as mainly transactional and making it faster and better and cheaper. And then when Mary Fuller Parker came in, they started talking about the people side. Well, now we're really going to have to talk about the ethical side and the empathy side of going on. That's the next wave, because the implications, the impact of AI is going to be so complex and so great that we really need to be aware of that. So as college students, understanding AI's impact is crucial, for your future success as business practitioners. And that's why I really want to emphasize this particular presentation, and all you have to do is, go back to, Flipboard that I talked about on your smartphone, and keep abreast of what's going on. And you can draw in articles that will keep you, updated on where AI is going, so that where you need to go to learn, and on this continuous learning to be ready to take on, your challenges as you progress through your future business endeavors. So that's the key part that I want to get across to you. So what is AI? Well, it refers to machines or software that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence, but now it's artificial. And examples like natural language processing, machine learning, computer vision, robotics, and combine AI with robotics, and you can see that this is going to be a whole new era of increasing productivity and replacing people in the process. So what do you need to know, and what kind of skills do you need to have as a business practitioner? And so you need strategic thinking. And what strategic thinking is? It's critical thinking, right? And you understand how AI aligns with business goals, how it's going to get done. And then because things are happening faster and faster and with greater impact, change management, and I've been saying this for the whole length of the course, is just key. You really need to understand change management. You really need those tools to be able to make sure that you can undergo the transformations for the organization that you're going to own or you're going to work for. And again, just from my experience, when I drove the service delivery program of business process improvement for TELUS, we had 1,200 people provincially. We had $60 million in operation and maintenance dollars that ran that every year. And the thing is that change management, I had several change management specialists that went out and worked with those teams, and that just made a heck of a difference in terms of achieving the transformation that we wanted to make. And then thirdly, ethical decision making is becoming, and we've done almost a whole topic about that, it's become very absolute paramount because of the of where AI can go, and you really need to think this through. All right, and so why? Well, leading AI projects and driving innovation. You need to have these skills to do that, and taking again a look at balancing the AI benefits with ethical considerations. That's going to be really important. And again, it gets back to the triple bottom line of people, planet, and prosperity, which means profitability in implied, and so that there's going to be so many pressures and so many changes. And if AI remains transactional, and with no concern for people, what kind of world are we going to be living in? So that's what you have to think about. Okay, so again, the skills that's needed. All right, so I'm not expecting you to become programming experts or machine learning experts or whatever, but here's the example that in my day, so on this particular project that I talked about at TELUS, where we changed the service delivery system, it was hundreds of systems, IT systems that needed to come together. All right, so as a business practitioner, my role and the people working for me were that we would do the analysis and take a look at what needed to be changed, but we would have to write the business description of what the expected outcomes were based on this change, and what the impact of that change and how we could process that change. And that information was given to the IT people that they would build systems and set up code to achieve. So we set the expectations. I don't think it's going to be any different with AI, so that you need to have, and by the way, by doing that, we really learned a lot about IT, and then we got to understand what they needed. And so by that kind of analogy, you will need to know a little bit about programming languages. You will need to know a little bit about machine learning algorithms and data engineering, so that you can guide these efforts, as business leaders driving AI to increase productivity and achieve other goals that you want to achieve. And so what's going to come down to? It's going to come down to developing custom AI applications and solving complex business problems. And what do you need to solve complex business problems? You need strategic and critical thinking aptitudes to be able to do that. So that's where that comes back. And then just to give you an example about, let's go back to these point of sale softwares, for smaller operations. And in just a few years, if you were a dentist, well, you had a customized dentist office point of sale system. If you were an accountant, you had an accountant customized point of sale system. It's going to be no different, right? With AI applications. So you can see that the customization is really going to get very specific. And again, you can see where the opportunities are, and then what are the impacts on what you need to know to be able to be a leading factor in promoting AI. All right. So what does that mean again? Understanding AI. Well, you need to know a little bit about mathematics. This one, the second one, the big data analytics. Business life is going to be all about data and lots of it. And because you'll have lots of it in terms of gathering it and everything else, you're going to need AI to be able to extract, what's going out, and then convert that to visualizing what that data looks like. So some of my experience on the marketing side, we would use a factor analysis. So we'd go into some data and we'd find we'd start looking for, let's say, 3 attributes. One would be price, one would be quality, and one would be response. And we go into that data and find the data that supports those 3, and then measure the correlations amongst those 3. And if we look at a correlation from 0 to 1, so if the correlation, say, was 0.8, that meant there was a cause and effect there, and then that would allow us to create, draw insights from the data to be able to create initiatives to be able to appeal to our customers. And then on the visualization side, I worked on a project on my consulting operation where we put a proposal into a medium-sized city, and they wanted to engage their senior citizens and wanted to locate a particular senior citizen center in the right place, in the city itself. Well, we teamed up with a GIS data company out of Quebec, and we were able to actually map demographics, psychographics, particular elements on maps where you could actually see with your own eyes where would be the best location, to put that center in, and so that that data visualization will just get more and more acute, or will be that much better with AI. I see in the future. So again, what's the expectations around that? Well, you'll need to be able to interpret AI results, and you'll need to collaborate with data scientists. So get ready to be able to get that kind of training and development so that you can be of value to an organization, in understanding AI. The next one for solutions, well, deep learning and neural networks. So you need to know something about that. But what's this all about? This is about systems thinking. And, I've been talking about systems thinking pretty well the whole length of the term. And systems thinking is looking at different, what's the term? Shapes or routines that you can see, and then you can derive insights from that. Well, then you can use AI to be able to do that, to draw insights from patterns of what's going on, and then problem solving. So problem solving, again, you analyze, you model, you visualize, and again, that's all about critical thinking and how you do that, and then having the business acumen to really understand the context in the industry that you're working in, to be able to create these AI solutions, and what's going to come out of there? AI-driven products, absolutely enhancing the customer experience. And I told you in the past, it's we're really thinking about you can get customer satisfaction, but that won't hold them. It's customer loyalty that you could take to the bank. And having said that, it's customer lifetime value that really makes the future for the organization. So that's going to be a big part of what AI can do, because it could get so specific, in doing that. Okay, so how AI will change the business roles? Well, through automation, through decision support, new job roles, and then upskilling. So it's going to bring a whole new meaning to lifelong learning. We've been hearing about lifelong learning for a long time now, but again, with the accelerating pace of AI, it's going to take on a lot more expectations around lifelong learning. So what I say is, get in on the ground floor. Like right now, you should start, getting to your smartphone and setting up Flipboard to send you some information about AI so that you could be abreast and start preparing for, your chosen field and how that's going to be affected. Okay, so how do you prepare? Well, you learn the basics. You understand AI concepts. You understand what algorithms can do in the applications. But always stay curious. Explore those trends, those AI trends. Attend workshops. Read research papers, and then collaborate. That's key, right? Because what you're doing is that it has an impact, and it's so pervasive that working with interdisciplinary teams will give you some really good diverse perspective and how to really bring out full AI solutions. And the fourth one, ethics first. And I'm going to talk about that a little more. Consider the ethical implications of AI in business. And the thing is, AI revolution is not a distant future. It's happening now. And equip yourself with the right skills, to adapt to change, embrace those opportunities, and then have a solid view of how ethical you need to be able to make sure that it does what what you expect it to do. So here's just a few more links to go through for more information. But now here's a little bit of information that I drew last term, to kind of give you a sense of what's going on. But it will redefine management in the workforce. And again, I get back to the evolution of management principles. You're going to be into a whole new level of what's going on, and you're going to have to make decisions. And just to remember is that we went through this evolution to learn how things did evolve, but the principle around that is that we build knowledge from existing knowledge, and it's sort of like a step process. So you're not learning this evolution to date now for nothing, because there's some principles there, and you can see how things are changing to be able to solve the next level of management principle requirements as it adopts AI and robotics. So here, I mentioned this statistic before, and this is, the data shows that the use of AI in many sectors of the business in North America, that's a North American number that I found, by over 270% over the last 4 years. So it's becoming the standard in all business. It's not just in the world of tech, it's everywhere. And look at, according to Gartner, 80% of today's project management work will be automated, eliminating the discipline and replacing, professional management traditional functions with AI. So, you got to understand is, how can I stay in the game? And it's about the judgment side of using AI. And now you're going to be more of a designer than you are an actual implementer, on that piece, because the AI was going to be doing a lot of the routine work. And then, the global survey by Pega, 78% of executives surveyed believe that increasing the use of AI and robots will dramatically reduce middle management ranks. So get ready for some competition, to be able to work your way through. If you want to go up in higher levels of management, it's going to be that much more of a challenge. And so that understanding AI and being of value to the organization to be able to manage AI will put you in a really good, it'll put you in that 20%, the top 20% of your field. And Boston Consulting Group in 2020, they said traditional management has reached a breaking point, right? So it's getting, redesigned. It's getting to the point where now we really need to look at, what are the implications of AI? What kind of impacts can we expect? And how are we going to manage effectively based on the changes in the way that people do work? Okay, so again, so bosses may have years of experience under their belt, right? But that doesn't mean that they're irreplaceable. In fact, managers are some of the easiest people to replicate with AI. And that's where you have to think about it. So AI can analyze the data from multiple managers, pull out all that corporate knowledge and organize it so that when it looks at a problem, it can draw as if it was drawing from 100 managers and come up with a model of an approach on how to solve a particular problem. With this predictive model, I mean, AI can make decisions that are similar to those made by human managers. And all of this faster, more efficient than any human. Now, having said that, AI can make some errors as well. It's not a silver bullet. And that's where, you would come in again as a trusted authority on managing artificial intelligence and guiding that to make sure and to understand when a result comes out from AI, well, does it pass the litmus test? Is it really doing what it should be doing? And your judgment will be very valuable to make sure that AI are doing the right things, and that will keep you in the game. Okay, so I can't say enough about preparing for the future of business. in terms of empathy. All right. So that's a powerful and often an underestimated force, and it's found its place in the heart of modern business management. And oh, by the way, when I was researching a little bit, for this term, I came across one of the a sort of foundational people of management principles, and I can't remember her name right now, but she emphasized that empathy would be a new consideration, for the next level of management principles. So it's all about fostering a culture, that values people and relationships and understanding, and that's that's what's going to keep it together. And being able to manage those communications and keep it at the personal level rather than at the transactional level to make sure that it delivers, for society the way it's intended to deliver. So what does that mean then? What does that mean in terms of empathy? Well, empathy influences our business landscape through employee well-being. Well, we've learned a lot about employee well-being in the last 30 years. A customer-centric approach. That's even going to be, using empathy allows businesses to step into their customers' shoes. Innovation and creativity, well, it fuels innovation. Conflict resolution, instead of, bulldozing through disagreements, you actively listen and validate feelings and find win-win solutions. And then ethical decision making, it's going to have so much impact there. And then, you want to really build trust and integrity. And, trust is the currency of business, right? If people don't trust you, they won't do business with you, right? And then adaptability. So change is constant. And again, change management will come in, your skills will come into play on that piece because the change will be more rapid, the cycles will be shorter, and the impact will be greater. So that, strap in because it's going to be, big challenges. And again, at the end of the day, diversity and inclusion, that's really what empathy dismantles barriers and promotes this inclusivity by acknowledging diverse backgrounds. Okay, so it's not a weakness. Empathy is not a weakness. It's a strength, and it bridges gaps and it fosters connections and it transforms business into compassionate, thriving ecosystems. And that's where we want to take business, in the next level. And again, embracing triple bottom line, embracing the fact that we want to be good ancestors and we want our children's grandchildren's to take advantage of how we can make society a better place and have a higher level of standard of living and quality of life, and we redefine success. One human interaction at a time. So I can't say enough about that in terms of taking empathy and then converting that into ethical considerations, on the triple bottom line: people, planet, and prosperity. All right, so just a little bit about the participation activities. So 13A, it's going to be pretty simple. What I want you to do is, let me just flip to the next slide. Yeah, I want you to utilize the sources and the information from this topic presentation and identify the top 10 uses for AI in management. So all I'm expecting is a numbering of 10, almost like point form assessment, and most of the answers are right here in these slides. But look at it from your perspective of what are the key ones that you'd really want to identify. The next thing is the participation topic 13B, and so that you've done all these particular Pearson Rebel surveys, and what I want you to do is take a screenshot of just maybe one of the outputs of each survey, and then put that all on one PDF form, and then upload that, and out of that piece, you can get 3 bonus marks, in the participation activities part of the marks for the course, right? And the instructions are there as well. And again, this is outdated. Just remember, your test 3 is on the 17th at 7 p.m. and it's all online. This is from the last term. It didn't change. And then I want to remind you about, your individual project and your team project that's due. And I'm asking you again to really read the instructions on how that gets done. Make sure that you organize it in a heading, subheading, and numbering fashion so that I can give you better marks. All right. And on the team projects, understand that you don't have to answer all the 30 questions. You answer as many as it adds up to 100 or just 100 plus points, and then that's what I mark you on. If any team, and I've done this in the last term, if any team answers the 30 questions, I will stop at 100 marks. So what I'll take a look at is the selection of questions that you made. So let's say it adds up to 102 points. Well, I will mark that out of 102 points. If it adds up to 106 points, I will mark that out of 106 points. All right, and that's how that will work. Okay, so here's the 12 important benefits of AI for business, and we've kind of covered them, but again, it all leads into looking at the doing your 13A. It has some impact on how you're going to select those pieces. But what does it do? You have better decisions, efficiency and productivity gains, improved speed of business, new capabilities and business model expansion, personalized customer service and experiences, improved services, improved monitoring, better quality and reduction of human error, definitely, because the AI will take care of that. Better talent management, more innovation, increased profitability, industry-specific improvements. So there's a lot of benefits on that side, but there's a downside on that, and there's the negative things that could happen, or the negative uses of AI that can get out of hand. And it all comes down to making good ethical decisions. You're taking a look at how you're going to implement AI in your processes and your systems, and being very accountable and responsible and transparent on what's going to happen, so that people can see what's going on. You have a real-time view of your results, and you can recalibrate. You can change your approach if you see that it's not getting you where you want to go. Okay, in terms of industry-specific uses, so here's some categories that have really started moving. Definitely in healthcare, in financial services, industrial maintenance, the monitoring and predicting machine maintenance. So it's, if you take a look at, let's say, power production, there's an annual maintenance shutdown. And that's where on a routine basis, it's scheduled, that they refurbish pumps and they whatever. AI is going to get to the point where it's going to tell you when the optimum time is to do maintenance, and that's going to save a lot of costs. And then there'll be a workaround in terms of how do you get that done and keep the system going or whatever. But that's going to be a very remarkable change on how things get done when it comes to industrial maintenance, and that's a key expense for many manufacturing and production type businesses. Transportation. We're seeing it coming already. You've seen some statistics. It's going to enable self-driving, and again, I could see Amazon having a self-driven delivery truck. With what's the term? With a little drone that takes the parcel and then drops it off at the front door. It takes a picture and rings the doorbell. I mean, that's how far it can go. There won't be any human interaction here. So, strap in. But what industries will have a big impact? Right now, education, definitely. AI will be transformative. Students will receive educational content and trainings tailored to their specific needs. Healthcare. It'll become a standard tool for doctors and physicians. And just think of the capability of drawing into years of data to be able to diagnose a particular condition, and looking at all the implications and the associations with different types of measurement to come up with a diagnosis. You can see that that's going to be a tremendous boon, for the medical industry. Finance. Well, credit score monitoring, fraud detection, financial planning, insurance policy changes, customer service. So AI systems will also be used to develop, again, more complex and rapidly executed investment strategies for large investors. I could see that happening. I could see that, right now, as a sort of just a person investing, and with the tools that are out there by some of the investment firms, it's going to become a lot more capable, or give you a lot more capability as an individual investor, because it'll be able to train you and give you insights that you would have to put a lot of hours in to really to gain those insights if you did it manually. So get ready for that as well. The law. So look at this. AI systems do the work that would have required 10 to 20 lawyers in the past do it more quickly and more cost effectively. And in the US, by 2028, the number of human lawyers in the US could be cut by 25% or more. So it's not just low-skilled workers that are going to be impacted by AI. It's everybody. And that's why, you need to focus on being in that top 20%. And if you don't have any good understanding of AI and show that you can lead AI instead of being led by AI, then you may not be in that top 20%. And then you'll have to struggle to keep, finding work for yourself. Transportation, we talked about that. Autonomous vehicles, I mean, in private and commercial use, it's there's a lot of experimentation right now. I know that, some car manufacturers have had pretty big issues, but it's the fact that everybody's working towards that. And then AI will be able to help grow AI, for these autonomous vehicles. So, Tesla may have, the solution in the next few years, based on those kind of capabilities. Okay, so here we are, here's some 15 applications in AI businesses, part of the answers for your 13A. So have a look at these, but again, take a look at what you think are going to be, the key, the key top 10 ones that you're going to identify for 13A. So here's a little more about, information that I've found. I think this is Accenture's information. I'm not going to go through it in details, but just kind of highlight a few things. But look at AI challenges. Managers, will have to reconsider their roles. They'll have to redefine operating principles. They'll have to increase collaboration between humans and machines. There'll have to be more training and performance reviews and the rethinking of KPIs and how do you acquire the talent and what kind of strategies. So 86% of managers say they want help from intelligence systems when monitoring and reporting. I mean, that's key. So managers have to recognize AI could end a lot of the administrative work. Managers are ready, but have to be cautious about AI because AI could, put organizations in the wrong area, or so that you need people that have good judgment to understand what the capabilities can be and what the impact could be and what the negative consequences could be, and again, how to apply ethical decisions. So, we're going to see some numbers where, great numbers of the workforce will be laid off. Well, okay, the organizations will save money, but, ethically, what do we do with those laid off people? In the triple bottom line approach, how are we going to retrain them? So it's all those kind of things that, have to come into play. And managers have to welcome AI help with their current roles and again, stay, making sure that you continually learn and pick up the right skills to stay relevant. So that's key. And again, this all came from Accenture. And again, AI affects the next generation managers' responsibilities and skills. So accelerating routine work, which constitutes more than half of managers' time. So you're going to shift your priorities and your efforts, from doing routine work to doing more designing, to be, really focusing on the strategic end of your work. Okay, so where can I say that? I think there's okay, so here we are. So the next generation manager, here's 5 characteristics of a manager thriving in the age of AI. So you have to treat intelligent machines as colleagues. You've got to be able to kind of interact with those machines. You focus on judgment work, the critical thinking, the strategic thinking aspect of the job. And then you pass off, your routine work to AI while you do the real work, and that's where you can, you're doing the right things, and AI will do the right things right. And then collaborate digitally across boundaries. And that's where, again, it's all these interdependencies now, where you can see that AI can do a lot of work for you, but then you have to, coordinate and collaborate across those boundaries to, get more alignment to get things done. And then you need to work like a designer, right? And instead of just a plain doer. Okay, so steps to success, explore it early. So I'm saying, get on the ground floor now and start learning about it so that when you're career ready, once you're done your program here, you'll be embarking on your journey to be able to, optimize the use of AI in your career and bring value to your organization, whether you own it or you're working for an organization. So explore early, experiment and engage, and you're going to have to look at new key performance indicators, to drive the successful adoption of AI. So, what gets measured gets done, and develop the training and recruitment strategies, for creativity, collaboration, again, empathy, judgment skills. So those are the things that are going to count to keep you in the game, and then start building the intelligent enterprise and combine all this stuff, for optimal outcomes. Okay. So there's some information on that. I talked about this piece. So let's just get into management information systems, because at the end of the day, what's going to go on in your career life cycle is that more and more data, more and more decisions based on a whole pile of data, making sure that the data is not corrupt, that it's integral, that it's stored properly, and then you're going to be making decisions based on a lot of that data. And oh, by the way, AI is going to come in handy because there's so much of that data. You'll need that capability to extract, the right relationships to be able to understand how to sort of predict what's going on and then prescribe what's going on in terms of policy. So get ready for that, and then how does that come together? Well, it's a combination of hardware and software. It's a combination of database management, and then the networks, and then the functional systems that tie in to that overall platform, and then business intelligence will take a whole new meaning. I mean, I know when I started my career, I was in corporate development and looking at strategic planning and looking at a piece of software where it would show me how to create business intelligence. But basically, I had to input all that data. I had to do all that work. And today's, in tomorrow's world, AI is going to just extract that data based on some commands that you give it, and put that business intelligence into it, doing the analysis and showing you, what the implications are and what the possible solutions can be, to increase the capability of sustainable competitive advantage. So it's going to be a real ride for you in terms of, what the capabilities will be in your career lifetime. Okay, so essentials of management information system. Well, extensive use of information systems to support decision making and to monitor performance. But it's going to be more and more data and more intricate analysis around the relationships to bring in deeper insights, to make your predictive power that much more effective. Okay, and so why are you doing this? So the current IT wants to achieve this 6 important business objectives, and AI now will accelerate that in terms of capabilities and better outcomes. So what are you really looking to do? Well, you want to affect operational excellence. You want to develop new product services and develop new business models for changing business conditions. You want more customer and supplier intimacy. And again, it gets back to, getting to customer loyalty and having champions or advocates that will advocate for your business. And again, which leads to customer loyalty that has a customer lifetime value increasing, the revenue aspects of the organization over time because of the relationship with the customers. Improved decision making, because now you will have more insights as to making those better, and you'll be able to better define the actual problems for the solutions you're looking for. And a better defined problem is 90% of the solution. And then again, increasing competitive advantage, and in many cases, just business survival in the new age. So those are the things that you're going to get through management information systems, again on steroids, because artificial intelligence will be driving the capabilities of those management information systems. But what does it come down to? It comes down to inputs, processing those inputs and outputs, and the thing is for all the stakeholders in the business process, from your suppliers, your the overall environment and what's going on in terms of trends, your customers, your competitors, your shareholders, the regulatory agencies that have big impacts on a lot of organizations, right? So that's the 3 basic activities, and then how does management information systems cover those 3 activities, and then the new implications of artificial intelligence driving the capabilities of the management information systems going forward. So again, role of people in organizations. Well, information system literacy. You're really gonna have to know about these things to be able to be better managers. You're gonna have to have a little more computer literacy. You're gonna have to know more about management information systems, because again, in terms of decision making, it's going to make up a greater part of the aspects of making the better choices and how to implement them, and through management information systems. And then it gets down to, I don't know if you remember, I talked about what does create sustainable competitive advantage. Well, it's mainly 3 things, right? It's people, it's process, and it's technology. So let's just say that you bought a new machine that makes your production that much better. Well, you'll be able to maybe lower your cost, and you'll be able to gain a little more market share. But as soon as your competitor learns that you bought that new machine, what's to stop them from just go out and buy that same new machine and then up their ante and then level the playing field, right? But when you have a new technology, and you have the right people that have the right mindset to really mine the synergies of that technology and design the key processes that will get the most out of the technology using the best capabilities of the people. Now, from a VRIO analysis, that's not as imitatable, right? Because it's really hard to duplicate. Because the competitor really can't see what's going on inside of your organization, with those three components. Now, and how do you tie that together? Information systems. And here, there's just a little bit, where I talk about, process. It talks about organizations, and so that's like a greater envelope for process and the structure and everything else that works with the technology and the people. So again, information systems is the key binder, to find out really what's going on. Okay, And then, there's always going to be a structured hierarchy and business process to do that. And then the culture then is embedded in the information systems. And that's where, you make the cultural aspects of making good ethical decisions systemic in the systems that you've created. And that way it ensures that, you're going to be on the right side of history when you're doing things. And so that, you need the right kind of people with the right kind of skills. You need the mindset to be able to use those systems productively. You need, the change, those roles of the managers in terms to how they perceive those business challenges, set the strategy, allocate human and financial resources, and create and be creative in the work that they produce. Okay, so I'm going to kind of go through that piece because it's a little more, but I just want to talk about this little organization. Is that, if you take a look at in terms of data analytics, all right. So what you do is the first thing is that you try to understand what's happening in your business, right? And then you bring in that data, and then you kind of look at what that data is saying. And then once you know what that data is saying, then you'll find a pattern. You'll find some relationships that correlate in terms of some factors that correlate. And then what you can do then is you could diagnose what the situation is in that piece. Now, once you've diagnosed that, you've got some modeling in terms of how to diagnose, and then you validate that modeling, and then all of a sudden you can get in the realm of now you can actually predict what could happen if some basic conditions change. And then once your predictive capability increases, then you can actually say, okay, I know now if I change conditions A, B, and C, and something's going to happen in a positive way. And now you can start creating policy on how you can manipulate, those algorithms, or I should say, optimize those algorithms to be able to get to the outcomes. So, so you've gone from descriptive to diagnostic to predictive to prescriptive. So in terms of what you need to do, to get to those key outcomes where you're going. This was just an example to show you, what analytics can look like, using business intelligence software. You can get all kinds of pictorials that really gives you information, from just a view, and you can get a sense of what's going on. And then understanding, when it comes to data mining, there's 4 stages. So you have these data sources, and then what do? Then you gather from them, and then you kind of model, what's going on in terms of the interrelationships of the factors, and then you deploy those models. So that's really how you get to that piece. And then I just wanted to talk a little bit about enterprise resource planning, and ERP systems are brought about as a shift in how business manage their operations. So I lived this with TELUS. We brought in an ERP, an SAP. It's a German enterprise resource planning system, and the thing is that it's not for the faint-hearted. It took several years. It was really painful, and the biggest piece to understand is to make sure that it's it's as open source as possible, and it's the interfaces that you have to build to existing systems, because you just can't change everything. You'd have to stop the business, right? And it's the interfaces that becomes the most onerous part of bringing in that ERP system. But you'll get real-time data sharing. You'll get streamlined processes from that, and improved decision making. I talked about just an application in one of the topics when we were doing strategic planning. The Cascade software for strategic planning. You have all the stakeholders tapped into that software, and the reporting goes into the software once the plan is created, and you can get real-time sharing on, what's happening based on the strategic goals that you can set. It will streamline your process because everybody is aligned now, and they will adjust to be able to make sure that the business processes do what they say. And then what will that do? It will improve decision making. So that's just an analogy on a application example. And then for customer relationship management, you enable personalized marketing, you enable better customer service. I'll tell you a small story about myself. So when I was in Ontario, I went to my dentist. I was bragging about my family, and then the second visit, the technician said, "Oh, how's Gina doing?" Well, what did they do? They queried me, and they actually put my personal information on my file. And what are they doing with that? They're creating customer intimacy, right? So that's just a small example of where customer relationship management can go. But again, put that on steroids with artificial intelligence, where it can draw many sources of data based on your customers, and then all of a sudden create this really close bond, with your customer if it's done right. Okay. All right, and then lastly, the supply chain management. Supply chain management really is just, it's a growing field. And why? End to end, you can better, you get better end to end quality control. You get better end to end security. You get better hands off in corporations in coordination and payments and transfers and everything else. And the thing is that global trading is just, again, it's increasing, logarithmically. I mean, it just, every year it just, it's sort of compounding its growth, and it's had some setbacks during COVID and everything else. But if you take a look at the timeline, it's still really going, at a great rate. And so that what happened in 2018 is that IBM got together with, I think it's a Netherlands company. It's a global shipping company, Maersk, and they got together and they created a joint venture, and they created a blockchain system to support supply chain management. And what blockchain is basically, it's blocks of data that the information is encrypted, so it's safe, and there's currency involved, cryptocurrency, and basically when there's a handoff, somebody gets paid immediately. When there's something that changes, it's all real time, and all the partners can see where and why and how things are happening in that piece. So what I'm saying is, if you take a look again at artificial intelligence, really making it that much smarter and that much more automated, where is that going to take you? And economists say, I mean, global trading, because of comparative advantage, has all the good things that could happen in terms of enhancing our quality of life and our prosperity. It does, global trading does have some downside in terms of, if there's exploitation of underdeveloped countries and all that piece. But overall, with good management, like people like you, and making those right decisions, this can go, in a really good way in terms of making things happen. So here's a little bit about blockchain. I don't expect you to become a blockchain expert, but just understand what's going on. But essentially what it does is it increases trust, security and transparency and traceability of data, and it's all protected, right? And in that way, it makes the process that much more effective. And what's going on is that more and more players, even from developing countries, are seeing the benefits of all this. And so here's another piece too. Inside of that blockchain, if you take a look at tracking, so I'm going to talk about radio frequency identification devices. So RFIDs, radio frequency identification devices, were expensive at one point in time, but now because of volume and technology, they're so much more cheaper. And not only that, they're so much more functional. So that they, at one point in time, like say UPS, they would have them on their packages, and then they'd know it would have to go through a scanner, and they'd know where that package was in the network. But in today's world, it can actually send information as well, so that you can have a container, in a port somewhere that's refrigerated, and the refrigeration system drops off, and it will send a signal, to a network viewer, and then they could fix that problem right away. They know where that container is, they know how to get to it, they have all the specifications, all done through this blockchain system. So you can see where that's going, right? And again, it's going to change the future of the supply chain industry, and it offers, again, this transparency and tracking and facilitates the tracking of purchase orders and change orders. And there's international agreements on how things are done in the supply chain. They're called Incoterms, and they're sort of standardized business pieces. So what is the blockchain approach done? It's systematized all those, it's digitized, so it's all built in. So all the paperwork and all the rigor, that people had to put in to those Incoterms to make sure, an item or an offering got shipped across the world, and all these partners worked through that in terms of logistics, and everybody got paid. That was an onerous, and going through customs, that was an onerous proposition. But now it can be all digitized and all real-time viewed on step by step on what's going on. So there's a big big piece going on, in this, in harnessing that. There's here, the Internet of Things. This is just a network that brings all this information together. You don't have to know too much about that, but I just wanted to let you know that it's there. And then ultimately just talk about, the Canadian supply chain salary report. Think of it, Canada has, a composition of, almost 200 nations, inside of its, its citizenship, right, people. And so that means, we can talk to the world, because all these languages and all these people have come from all these parts of the world. It has, one of the better telecommunications network in the world. It has, world-class standards in IT, and it has a very educated workforce. So essentially, what it does do, it creates a lot of opportunity for Canadians to be, the supply chain managers of the world, and everything can be run out of Canada because of the capabilities that we have. So I just want you to think about that as an opportunity. I mean, there's a lot of jobs. Look at this. One of the highest paying jobs for a supply chain professional in Canada, almost $200,000 a year. So there's stuff to be learned there. All right. And again, information systems and business operations. Well, it streamlines stuff. It automates routine tasks. It works towards efficiency and productivity. And and with AI, driving that, you can see where that's going to go. And the availability of real-time data transforming decision making. I mean, that's what data is all about, and that's where it's going. There's a lot of opportunity ahead for you to kind of get into those parts of the business, and understanding that business intelligence tools are just going to get smarter and smarter through AI, and you're going to have a lot more data visualization, ways of interpreting, in terms of through pictures, and be able to do a lot more predictive analysis. So there's a lot to take a look at that. All right, I think that's where it's gonna end. All right, so it's been a great term, and you've been a really good group. I've had a lot of interaction by email, and I've seen a lot of people in this class that really want to make a difference in their business life, and I appreciate the input that I received. So I wish you the best in all your endeavors, and we'll go from there. So John, do you have a question? I see your hand up, so you can unmute and ask a question.
Oh yeah. I did actually send you an email about the project change for the charter. If you remember, we added Kyle Abdi to our group, and I made some changes about it. Um, it ended up in progress, so I actually double check it. I see there that it's still in progress of being submitted, so I just submitted it like a few days ago.
Okay, just, you know what, just send me an email and include it, all right, of what you've done, and then I'll get it in case, when you upload, sometimes you can't upload it properly, all right? If you want to do that, that would be great.
Okay, yeah, I will definitely consolidate all the things in concern and then the changes that I made, and yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thanks for the comment. Okay, so I wish you the best. And again,
Gary, sir.
yeah, go ahead.
Gary.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to clarify regarding our the assessments that we did in the first Pearson. So we gonna submit it at the topic 13, right?
13B, that's correct.
So all of those screenshot, then you're gonna just close it right away on topic 13.
Yeah, so what to do is, that, like, you got, a few illustrations, reporting from each survey. Just give me a facsimile, like one survey, that's a screenshot for each one screenshot of result from that survey, and then put that on a PDF. So you'll have, all the surveys that are represented that you did, and then upload that, okay?
Okay, sounds good, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so I wish you the best, and again, make sure that you, yeah, go ahead. Is that it? Okay, make sure your lockdown browser, and again, the registrar's instruction says you don't need your webcam. Keep it on though, because I think it's a criteria to get into to get into the test. I think you can work around that, but just follow the instructions that I've given you on Blackboard to be able to do that, and you should be fine. And again, I will be online. Just what to understand is that all three of the course streams will be online at the same time. So that when you email me, the response might be a little later than what I've normally been doing in terms of getting back to you, almost instantly. So just understand that there's a lot more people doing the exam at the time that you're doing it, okay? All right, and we'll go from there. I'll stop the recording, and then I'll bid
Can
you.
we take a class picture?
Sorry?
Can we take a class picture?
Yeah, how do we do that?